Joe Sam, I haven't had the opportunity to meet you. Want you to know two things. Love your name. And I am very curious, how long have you been a filmmaker? Let's start there.
So I've actually been in the business in television and production for over a decade. So it's been a long time. So I'm bringing all those skills here to HCC to try and spread word out in the community about how great our college is. So it's been great. And I'm excited to be seeing you virtually and meeting you for the first time.
Absolutely. Well, I want to welcome you back to the show. I know you have a big event coming up next week, but before we get into that, can you give the audience a brief explanation of what Juneteenth is?
Absolutely. So on January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which ordered and declared that all slaves were free. So word didn't hit Galveston until 2 years later. So that was a big deal for a lot of people, especially here in Texas. So in 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrendered, which ended the Civil War. But 250,000 slaves still didn't know that they were free. So following that, General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, which is right down the road from us here in Houston, on June 19th, and he brought along with him that order that all slaves were free, thus giving birth to Juneteenth, which is what we all love and celebrate. And Texas became the first state in 1980 to declare Juneteenth as an official holiday. And then following that, 47 other states now also recognize it as an official holiday, including the District of Columbia. So we're excited to bring that history here to Houston and Galveston and really let the community know why we celebrate this and why it's important to celebrate Juneteenth, not just for African Americans, but for all races, because we still want that camaraderie between everyone and showcasing that diversity and that we all are equal in each other's eyes. So that's why we all love Juneteenth. And that's just a brief explanation of Juneteenth. It goes deeper, which is what the event is going to be about.
Wow, I had no idea that Texas was the first. That is really interesting. So, when will you screen this documentary?
So the documentary screening is going to be happening next Tuesday on June 13th. The whole reason why we wanted to do it the week before June 19th is because a lot of people celebrate Juneteenth. We get a lot of questions. And even when I was working as a journalist about what is Juneteenth, can you tell us what it's about? Why do we celebrate it? So we wanted to do this documentary prior to June 19th taking place so that we can educate the community about why we celebrate Juneteenth. And then on that actual day on June 19th, everyone can really appreciate the reason why it is so important and the impact that it has on not just the Houston, but the Galveston community as well. So that's, again, going to be happening on June 13th, which is next Tuesday. We were going to have it in the San Jacinto Auditorium here on HCC Central Campus, but we're going to be moving it to the W.W. Horman Building, room 100. So we're going to have a sign up on there for everyone to know that it's going to be relocated there. It's going to be between 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. And we have some amazing guests. We have Allison Smith, who's going to be presenting. She's with Emancipation Park, which again is the reason why Emancipation Park is so important here in Houston. They're going to have an amazing Juneteenth celebration as well that they're going to talk about. And we're going to have the KHOU anchor, Mia Grantney, there as well. Wow. To present this documentary. She has been an instrumental part in putting the documentary together, and it's her baby. So we wanted to make sure that she's here to represent it well.
Sure. So obviously there were a lot of people on your team who helped put this together. Tell me a little bit about the team and how long did it take you guys research-wise?
Absolutely. So a lot of production went into it. And I'm sure, you know, being a filmmaker, there was a lot of producers that worked on it. So about 5 to 6 different producers, a lot of talent there at KHOU as well worked on this documentary. And then bringing here to the college, myself, the administrative assistant, Tanya Brown, and our director of public relations, Deborah McGaughy, we all decided to just join forces and put this documentary on for the community.
Huh. So tell people out there, how can they celebrate Juneteenth after watching the documentary? Where can they go?
Absolutely. So Emancipation Park, like I mentioned, is going to be a really big area for everyone to go. Allison Smith, They actually have a event that's going to be happening tomorrow on Saturday at Emancipation Park as a pre-kickoff. And then they're going to be following that up with another event on June 19th. So there's a lot of events that's going to be happening at Emancipation Park, but also a lot of events happening in Galveston. You can really just do a Google search and see exactly what's going to be taking place in the city for Juneteenth. And then, of course, my family, we always celebrate with a good old barbecue. And we celebrate that because it's such, as times went along, it became an instrumental meal for Juneteenth, along with watermelon as a great refresher because it is hot and watermelon usually cools you down. But there's a lot of significance that brings along with Juneteenth and why people celebrate it, why they celebrate the way that they do. So again, there's a lot of different things happening for Juneteenth for people to get out and celebrate. The community is going to definitely have a great time.
Fantastic. Tell me, have you guys done some feedback? Have you had some small groups who've looked at the piece, and what kind of feedback have you received?
Absolutely. So let me tell you this, the documentary has already been viewed over 1 million times. So a lot of eyeballs have been on this documentary. They also had a panel discussion with community leaders in the Houston area, in the Galveston area, that all came together to talk about the importance of Juneteenth. So a lot of eyeballs were on this documentary, which is why it's so important. She's going to also mention the anchor, Mia Gratney, when she's here, their next installment, which is going to come out during the week of Juneteenth. So we want to make sure that everybody's here to be aware for that actual announcement so that they can continue learning more about Juneteenth and the history that it brings along with it.
Is there going to be anything special that people are going to do at HCC after the showing?
Yeah, so we're going to be having a Q&A. And it's going to be a short Q&A, but people are going to be able to ask questions. They're going to be able to really dive deep into the purpose behind this documentary, the purpose behind Juneteenth. Why was it put together? And why was it so important for the Houston and Galveston community? So that's going to be something for the community to really get involved. Instead of just coming to view the documentary, they're going to actually be able to ask their questions and get some answers following the documentary as well.
Well, Joe Sam, I think that this is amazing. I really, really do. And I'm so proud of you being involved and HCC being involved. It sounds like this was such an enormous community project, and I look forward to seeing the piece.
Absolutely. That's another thing, too. We're going to also have it posted. So anyone who did miss the documentary viewing here at HCC, we're going to have it up online and we can share that link with them.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Joe. And I wish you all the success in the world with the piece. That just sounds wonderful. Well, Andrea, I believe it's time to talk with Cheryl.
It is, and I'm excited to see the documentary. So thank you for that interview.